Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today. What we're going to do with our Indian here is we're going to explore some of the healing tools in Photoshop CS3. And what I'm going to start with doing is whenever I do any kind of photo like this, whenever I'm going to do a restoration, I duplicate the photo, like Control J, and that duplicates it to a new layer. And then I usually turn the background layer off just to keep it there for safekeeping. And then when I'm going to go ahead and start fixing things, I usually create a new layer like this, and then I work on that new layer. I actually build up several layers during the whole process. Okay, but I just want to mention that to you. Let me grab the zoom tool, and I'm going to zoom in here. And you see these little dark spots that are on the Indian's face here. That one looks like it might be a mole, so we'll leave that one alone. But the rest of these look just like problems with emulsion and dirt and dust and all kinds of stuff. There's some emulsion there. So let's go ahead and on the toolbar, now if you like keystrokes, then the J key is what you can use to cycle through the different healing brush options. But here's the tools that we have. We're going to focus on these two, the spot healing brush and the regular healing brush. And let's start with the spot healing brush. The way this works is Photoshop's going to sample the pixels around your brush and try to fix the data that's inside the brush. So you're going to want to experiment with brush size. I'm hitting the right bracket to make the brush larger and the left bracket to make it smaller. Obviously you don't want a huge brush. A lot of times you want a pretty small one. But you can actually just paint just like normal and it'll look just like black like that, right? But then when you release, then it's gone. Okay. Now, one thing that I didn't mention when you're working on a new layer like this, you want to make sure that sample all layers is turned on. That way, it'll sample the layers underneath and it'll do some work there. But what you're actually doing is, let's go ahead and hide this layer. Look at that. What you're actually doing is just painting on that new layer. You're painting the fixes on it. So that means I could turn it off and the imperfection comes back. Okay. Now let's do the same thing here. We just paint. So you can get very fine detail. You can do larger sections. And look what happened here. I was thinking this was probably going to happen. But what happened is Photoshop is sampling the data that is adjacent to this area. And that happens to be this stuff over here. And, you know, that's something that we don't want because now we got some duplication there. So I'm going to do Control Command Z to undo that. And I'm going to show you the next healing tool, which is the regular healing brush. What it does is allow you to control where that sampling comes from. So in this case, watch up here on the options bar. Right now you're looking at the spot healing brush. I'm going to hit the J key, and that's going to cycle me through to the next tool, which is the regular healing brush. Okay, the only difference as far as looking at this little icon is the spot healing brush has that little marquee looking thing, and the regular healing brush looks like that. Now to use this tool, you're going to hold down Alt or Option. Notice your cursor changes. Okay, and then you're going to click somewhere that you want to sample that kind of information. So you're saying, I like the pixel information here. I want to duplicate that kind of pattern over here. So now I'll go ahead and paint, and there we go. Now, it's not like it completely replaces the pixel data. Okay, that's a different tool that we're going to find out about later on. That's the clone tool, clone stamp tool. But what this does is it kind of merges the information and blends it together. So it's usually pretty effective. Again, Alt or Option click to sample and then paint. And I usually go through here and I go back and forth between the spot healing brush, the regular healing brush, and then constantly resampling where I want to sample from and fixing those imperfections. Okay, now I recommend for work like this that you have some type of pen tablet because it's a lot easier to control the size of the brush. You know, you don't have to do you don't have to have a mouse. With a mouse, you're either on or off, right? But notice that I can control the thickness. If I press really hard, see how big my brush is? But if I press really lightly, then the brush is very small. Okay, now I won't make you watch me do all of that, but that will be your homework for next week. This picture is available on our website. Download it, practice the techniques that we just talked about, and I'll see you next week.